Let's go. Let's fucking go, bro. We made it to the second round, bro. This is a fantasy draft. I'm hyped. I'm happy as hell, bro, because this shit is so fucking hard, dog. Y'all don't understand. Fantasy draft is way harder than the regular season, bro. Yeah. Locked up in LA County where they send me to jail. Ruby Rose straight from the cell. The family stopped me from popping and stopped me from popping, but I couldn't tell. Family down the kitchen, niggas. Baby nail that got it for $1. Turn it down, face, nigga. I ain't turning down, face, nigga. Why you? I ain't turning down, face, nigga. About to lay, nigga, what? I ain't turning down, face, nigga. No face, nigga. I don't care about no niggas. I'm tired about yeah, I do.
The Miami Heat come in off a critical game one win and are now poised and prepared as they attack the starters for the Pistons. We got Tracy McGrady. Brandon is out there with
living to steal and y'all niggas feel like the Buddha. You know, just nigga oil when that nigga took us a lot of shit to people. I just got feeling with all of my niggas who jump out of gym and we none of them. I never really think that with this shit that I've been in make me feel like purple. Niggas be with it and set it up like a fire. I just got it none of them. Niggas be everybody looking at some nigga run it every day. So let's take it. I'm not even going to put this shit on my ass. Fixing my niggas with niggas my friend.
the whistle blows.
You got niggas don't want to murder you. All of that, they ride the shit and that nigga eat shit and I got that on nothing. Swear some niggas when I was in Cali, but the window come us to butter. When I was in the county, I needed somebody to I was back then when I got it from position when I found out I don't got the bitches lost in the person that got it, they know that I got it, they know get up.
Joe is Judge who brings the ball up for the Miami Pass to Anthony.
Why do online providers of GLP-1 medications like semaglutide make things so confusing? One price for membership, another for medication. Hey, you need labs? Yep, that'll be extra. At Fridays, we decided to change the game by keeping things simple.
I'm on fire with Carmelo this whole playoffs, nigga.
Everything is
like for real.
Certified by Legit.
Like,
so you know
he's not the best player on the team, but bro, I ain't gonna hold you.
Look at our trust pilot with over 1,000 5-star.
He is close. If it wasn't for my guy, he would be carrying this team, bro. No cap.
For Miami, they've gone 2 or 3 here to start out the game.
The people who had been watching all year
You said
Magic, I love playing with Magic. I'm not even going to hold you because
they appear.
It's just how tall he is.
Now, you might be like, didn't you pick Tennessee to win it all? I did. Because upsets happen, and that's a fun one. And I think Tennessee is really, really good. But right now, there are 7 guys left in the tournament. 7 left in the entire tournament that are consensus first-round picks, meaning guys that are high enough picks that they are included in every mock draft you find out there. These 7 guys are in all. Duke's got 3, the rest of the tournament has 4. Now, again, there's 3 or 4 other guys in the tournament that might end up being first-round picks, maybe even 4 or 5 others. But there's 7 players right now in the NCAA tournament that are what you would consider minus huge money to be first-round picks. And Duke has 3. There are 5 guys that are currently projected lottery picks left in the tournament. And Duke has 3. Now, that doesn't guarantee you anything, but it does give you an idea of what a talent edge this team currently has and why it would be absolutely, at least to me, shocking if they do not make the Final Four. Now, in the Final Four, coming out of the region beneath them on your bracket, will either be Houston, Kentucky, or Tennessee. And any of those 3 teams should be. And the Pistons making a change here. And you guys know, I'm picking Tennessee. I like the odds on it. And I think they have part of that, if I'm being totally honest, probably has to be the disproportionate amount of the college basketball regular season and conference tournament games that I watched involve Tennessee because we have a close friend that's a big Tennessee Volunteer fan, so we watched some games with her. And so I thought this team had high upside, but bake that in to my analysis of this. But Duke is obviously the most talented team in the country, and Cooper Flag is as advertised. Now, I do find Cooper Flag, hype is the wrong word, but because hype almost I am curious, take the temperature of what are fair Cooper Flag expectations when it comes to how he stacks up amongst number 1 picks. This episode of What's Right is brought to you by Daya Pizza, featuring dairy-free cheese made with their new Daya Oat Cream Blend. Dairy-free cheese come a long way. Daya's leading the charge. Their pizzas offer the melt and stretch of traditional cheese without any dairy. Each Daya pizza starts with a perfectly crisp crust, layered with savory, satisfying toppings, and finished with cheese that melts and stretches beautiful. The Daya Oat Cream Blend delivers a creamy, juicy texture that's indistinguishable from dairy-based options. Every pizza is crafted to be dairy-free, making it a great choice for anyone seeking more inclusive meal options without compromising on taste. Daya takes the concept of dairy-free to a new level, eliminating faux mou. That is not the fear of cows, that is the fear of missing dairy. These pizzas deliver delicious taste and texture, making them perfect for any occasion, from casual dinners to game day spreads. Enjoy a full free pizza night with Daya.
Have you ever wondered why we are paid?
So he makes 1 of 2 as the second one misses.
In watching McGrady, you see the length and athleticism. He's a matchup nightmare for most teams.
He's getting his first free throw attempt of the night right now.
Now at the line, Magic Johnson.
And he knocks down the first one. That one falls, so he hits both of them.
I'm sure they don't want to send him to the line. That has to be in their scouting report.
Here's McGrady. A three-pointer is right on target. McGrady's got 7 points.
And is there any shot T-Mac doesn't have?
O'Neal high post. Here's Hastings. Detroit with the rebound. They come into this one after losing on Sunday.
You got to give them an A for effort. Just fell a little bit short in that.
And sometimes that's what happens in this league. You can play your A game and still get beat.
Pass to Abdul-Jabbar. 5 to shoot. The Pistons need to get off a shot here. McGrady misses the three, and he used the pump fake well there, but he couldn't capitalize. Here's Hastings. And down it goes, jamming that one home.
Oh, how about using the rim to get some true hang time?
You know, he just wanted to make sure the landing was softer than the takeoff. And it looks like they are going to review the play.
The previous play is...
Guys, big games like this in the NBA playoffs, you appreciate the benefit of instant replay to make sure they get the call right.
And it looks like they got it right this time. No basket. The clock had expired while the ball was still in his hands.
Yeah, and even if they...
And a high-scoring first quarter. Both teams really filling it up. Pistons lead by 3. And the second quarter will get underway just after this short break. And we're back for more exciting action from the Eastern Conference semifinals. And what stands out to you from the Pistons so far in this one?
Well, one way to generate more offense, pound the offensive glass. That was the difference in the first.
Yeah, look, and whether it's a point-blank putback or a kick out for an open three, offensive rebounds usually generate quality shots.
On the court for the Pistons, we've got Luka Doncic. He's out there with Richard Hamilton. Jones is out there with Abdul-Jabbar, and it's Issel in at the four-man position.
That's a defender doing just enough to cause a miss on the layup.
And it's Doncic missing. The Heat trail by 3. Here's Iverson, and Jones sends it back. And it's out of bounds. Last touch by Jones. And right now, let's watch that terrific swat.
And that block was something. It's the playoffs, and every possession and defensive stop matters.
Williamson is checked in for Miami. And the Pistons making a change here as well. Vassell is checked in for Hamilton.
Love the aggressive attitude. I mean, no invitation needed for him to take it strong to the basket.
Doncic bounce back. Here's Abdul-Jabbar. Here's Issel. Johnson with the rebound. The Heat have gone 1 of 3 to start out the second quarter. Iverson passes to O'Neal. Kicks it out to Iverson. Shoots over Doncic. And no good. Had a chance to take the lead there. From the arc. That shot off the mark. Miami trailing. Johnson with it. He's picked up by Doncic. The shot by Johnson, no good. And so Doncic will bring it up for the Pistons. Launches it. Here's Abdul-Jabbar. And that one is good with the extra effort on the glass.
Well, his rebounding is such a boost for this team, especially when it comes on the offensive end.
different look for Miami. Hastings, he's checked in for O'Neal. And Carmelo Anthony has subbed in for Zion Williamson. Detroit also making some changes. McGrady comes in for Jones. And it's Kidd in for Cassell. The Heat trail by 3. Johnson up top. He's covered by Kidd. Kidd against Johnson. Outside for Kobe. Can't tie it up as that one's no good.
Well, the defense catches a break there. You expect him to make those.
Count it.
The focus from Kidd, terrific at just keeping his composure even when things get tight.
Hastings, the pass to Anthony. Connects from three-point range. Anthony's got 10.
Well, he can beat you in a lot of ways. Very challenging to defend.
Issel gets the bucket.
And those are the kind of nice inside looks they've gotten here in the first half.
Here's Hastings out to Anthony. The 3 from Iverson. Rebounded by the Pistons.
Well, he continues to make the effort, but the results just aren't there this quarter.
Kidd passes to Doncic. 2 free throws coming up, and they call the shooting foul. Magic Johnson picks one up.
The all-around game of Doncic is impressive.
And if you don't have the right hour coverage, this can really blow your budget.
All free throws good from Doncic. There's 1:59 left to play in the first half. Anthony looking it over on the wing. Kobe. That one falls coming off Anthony's feet.
Nice set there, making it easy for Bryant. He had that lined up all the way.
Here's McGrady, and they come right back with their own three-pointer. McGrady's got the lead back up to 6 now for the Pistons. Johnson kicks to Iverson, and again Miami with the triple.
Defensively, they just look out of sync, not closing out on the threes in time.
Here's McGrady, and he jams it with authority.
Doing it with style. McGrady punishing the D for giving him that kind of airspace.
On our AT&T 5G Slam Cam, you just saw an explosive highlight. Here's Iverson. Lays it up off the glass. Iverson's got his 3rd basket of the night.
Well, after a silent first quarter, this is who they needed him to be. This is why you never count a guy out.
There to lose the defender. Got him on his heels, and then he made it look easy from there on in.
Johnson goes in. The kick out to Bryant. Outside Anthony. Johnson, the pass to Carmelo.
And the talents of Anthony on full display, mercilessly baiting the defender.
On the night, he's gone 2 for 2 at the stripe.
Now at the line, Carmelo Anthony.
First one falls for him. Abdul-Jabbar is checked in for Detroit. Brand comes in for Doncic. All free throws good from Anthony. Pistons leading by 3. McGrady outside. Good in the assist to Kidd. McGrady's got a pair of triples in the second now for the Pistons. Outside, KD. Over to the left wing. Here's Hastings. And so it's the Detroit Pistons with a 6-point lead at the end of the quarter. They're pounding the ball inside, and that's where they've gotten their best production tonight. It's time now to go courtside as we send you over to David Aldridge from the sideline. David, take it away.
Thanks, Kevin. Coach, what needs to change going ahead in the second half?
It starts with getting some stops. We got to play off some misses, and we can't let them force us into 1 or 0 pass possessions. We've got to move the ball when we're in the half court, help each other with that, but we'd like to.
Thank you, David, for that interview, and we'll see you back here after the break for third quarter basketball.
Welcome in, everybody. Game 2, and it's looking pretty good right now for the Detroit Pistons.
They're hitting at a high clip. Some shots have been wide open, some tightly contested.
And as the ball continued to fall through the net, you could see their confidence growing. Taking a look at how the series is going for the Heat. They were able to hold serve in Game 1, but they'll need that same effort to make the most of their home court edge.
Yeah, don't get comfortable. It's only one game. It was a game that they were supposed to win.
Yeah, but you got a great chance to take a commanding lead in this series, Shaq. You could go up 2-0, and I don't see them losing the series.
Some big expectations on this game, too. That'll do it for our show tonight. Thanks for joining us, and we'll send you back to Kevin Harlan for more hoops action.
You are back with us live as we bring you continuing coverage of the Eastern Conference semifinals. We're seeing a tremendous game from Tracy McGrady.
There must be ice water in his veins. Such an important game, and he plays superb basketball.
Don't be surprised if his second half is just as good.
And glad to have you with us as we get going here in Game 2. And so it's Anthony bringing it up for Miami. They trail by 6. So with Kobe sitting on the bench, this is who Eric Spoelstra has on the floor. We've got Durant. Johnson is out there with Anthony. And there's Hastings. And it's Gilmore in at the center position. Awesome display of athleticism captured by our AT&T 5G Slam Cam. And for the Pistons, they're shooting it really well. 54% from the floor. Outside Irving. Here's McGrady. Yes! And it's Irving picking up the assist. McGrady's got the lead up to 7 now for Detroit.
Guys, he's been a one-man air raid coming at them time and time again.
Well, what I love about his three-point shooting is the spacing that he's adding. It makes things a lot easier for everyone else.
Whoa. That'll wake you up.
He is such a great athlete. Detroit's gone to the three-pointer 11 times tonight, nailed 5 of them. And the foul on Carmelo Anthony. That's his first foul.
Like, and that's so much. Like me and Kobe, besides our, late great Kobe, obviously, me and Kobe never had a real relationship either. Until on the Olympic team, we had a great relationship there. But it was always competitive. So I became a Laker, and then he retired. That's when our relationship became really. He welcomed me, called me, bro, anything you need in LA, I got you, you're a Laker now, and your family. And we would have multiple conversations. He was obviously not something about 5 games, things of that nature. When I passed the scoring record in Philly, I think he had a tweet out there keep on going, keep transcending the game, keep going, and that mattered.
Need a moment to talk things over.
winning the national championship. It was, of course, just the beginning of their rivalry that would define the NBA in the 80s and change absolutely everything. They would, of course, come together and win a gold medal on the Dream Team in 1992. But it got us to thinking. What were the 5 greatest individual rivalries that we've seen in basketball? That is the subject of today's Green List, and I really struggled with what to put at 5. And then I looked at some of the numbers, and I decided to put Shaq and Tim Duncan, because I asked you, they played against each other so many times. Who had the greater career? It is a really complicated question to answer. They met in the playoffs 5 times over a 6-season span. One of them won Finals MVP every year for 5 straight seasons from 99 to 2003. It was a rivalry that defined the era and maybe the last great big man rivalry. At number 4, Michael Jordan and Isaiah Thomas. If you know, you know. The history of it is overwhelming, and it carries to this day. Not just because of the legendary playoff meetings between Jordan's Bulls and the Bad Boy Pistons, not just because of all of the things that happened on the floor, but because of the freeze-out in the All-Star game, and then the freeze-out of the Dream Team. It is a rivalry that continues decades after their careers came to an end. At number 3, LeBron James and Steph Curry. Let's get the modern era into the conversation. These are the 2 faces of the sport and have been now for multiple decades. They met in 4 consecutive finals. Curry's Warriors snapped a 50-year championship drought in 2015. The following year, LeBron beat them when they won 73 games. They are the defining players of their generation. Number 2, I didn't want to go all Mad Dog Russo on you here, but you can't not include Bill Russell and Wilt Chamberlain. They met 143 times. In an 11-season span, Russell won 5 MVPs and Wilt won 4. They played each other in 8 playoff series in the 60s. Russell's Celtics won 7 of those 8. That's probably the reason I couldn't put them at number 1. It was so one-sided. And of course, Magic and Larry completely changed the sport. In some ways, changed sports in this country as we know them. One or the other of them appeared in every NBA Finals in the 1980s, including 3 times against each other. Except for Michael Jordan in 1988, either Bird or Magic won every MVP from 1984 through 1990. Their rivalry completely changed sports, and they have to be at number 1 on this list. So there they are as I bring in the squad, and I think Bartholomew Scott wants to jump in as well, representing Detroit. You got Shaq and Duncan at 5, you got Jordan and Isaiah at 4, Curry, LeBron at 3, Russell, Wilt at 2, and the silhouettes of Magic Johnson and Larry Bird at 1. You were dying to jump in on this thing. I was satisfied with what I took Isaiah Thomas.
No, never. Isaiah Thomas should be number 1 because you talk about the other 2 rivalries on that list. You got Isaiah to that list as well. His best friend, Magic Johnson, hitting with the flagrant foul in the finals. 25 points in the 3rd quarter.
I understand.
Yeah, you got to put his feet up there more. And I got something to say to Gilbert Arenas, because I usually don't do this, but he said something disrespectful about Isaiah not being, like that yesterday, talking about that. Yeah, but man, you got to be proud to apologize and become a rookie.
I've said it a million times.
Listen, like that age of 0, you're going to have to holler at me.
Isaiah Thomas does not have a bigger fan than me. I always said, of all of the small players, until Steph Curry recently, I would have taken Isaiah number 1. You have to put Steph number 1 now. I would put Isaiah number 2. I'll take Isaiah on my team ahead of any of those other guys in my team who beat your team. Who's the list? Your reaction?
I love your list. I think at the time, Magic and Bird kind of saved the NBA, and they were dynamic and they were champions. I think MJ and the Pistons was terrific. I grew up watching Shaq and Timmy go at it, and I was there to see LeBron versus Steph Curry. So I think your list is money for me.
Talk to me, J. Will.
I like the list, Brady. Number 5, though, and can I just, and granted, they didn't beat in the NBA Finals, but this one felt more personal as a rivalry, though. How about Shaq and Kobe? Like, from teammates to rivalries and how they felt. What do you think about that?
I considered it. I did think of it. I told you I agonized over 5. The top 4 I thought were fairly easy. I just had to figure out the order. Those were going to be the top 4. I did consider Shaq and Kobe, but what I thought about was, and obviously the excruciatingly tragic way that we lost Kobe, the way that they came together later in their life. It was clear, and the way Shaq spoke of him, I just thought it didn't feel right to me. I completely understand, Jay, the point that you're making. It just didn't feel right to me. Sometimes these lists exist
Right? And there won't be any context. It'll just show the names, and it'll just look. But I certainly do understand the point you're making. It is an interesting question for those of us who are geeks about this kind of thing, and I very much am. Who had the greater career, Shaquille O'Neal or Tim Duncan? It is a fascinating and not easy to answer question. They were the two dominant bigs of their generation, and maybe the last time ever we see a classic rivalry like that of true bigs in the NBA.
Well, I mean, I think Shaq, from a dominant standpoint, I mean, that stretch from '99 to like 2003 was as good as any big man. Just because we faced him in New Jersey in the finals. Yeah. But I think for Tim Duncan, it's the length of his career and how dominant that Spurs team was throwing that. But just going back to the list. Just because I don't want to part mad at me, I'm going to put Isaiah number one. I heard him before we went even live, and that scared me right there.
Isaiah and Magic. Okay, so we'll leave it there for the moment. Anyway, that's the list. Have at it. That's what these things are meant for. But in the end of the day, I'm right, and we all know. For the last 10, but tonight, they will try and turn things around. They take on Indiana, 7:30 Eastern on ESPN. Lakers have allowed over 100 points to their last three, including a season-high 146 to the Bulls a few days ago. Moose and J-Ro and Bobby. Quick takes here. Lakers have not looked just quite right since LeBron.
Let's look at the energy stats, how the hustle game has been going for the Pistons.
Well, all you can ask for is your guys to be really active on D, and they've been more than that tonight.
And just a great job converting those second chance points as well. They're having a great night getting those second and third shot opportunities.
McGrady kicks to Kidd.
A short-term thinking to constantly mess me up on my long-term values of what this team. There was a 2-month stretch in which they were beating teams 500 or better, and their defensive rating was one of the best in the league. And this is a little bit of an issue when they're used to playing out in gaps. LeBron in the gap right there, and you're going to see Mattis knock down shots. The Bulls shot 58% from the field. And when they're not swarming around, and they're going to have some issues defensively in order to get back into those gaps. But it's only LeBron James' second game back. Right? We're going to see his third game back tonight. I'm not as concerned because I think they're going to find their rhythm defensively, especially with the way J.J. Redick plays off targeted shooters that shoot lower probabilities. That's how they play. They're going to find their rhythm. They're still going to be an issue. Bruce, if I told you the Lakers are going to be the last team standing with OKC in the West, would you take that bet?
If Luka plays some defense, I think teams are targeting Luka. They put him in help-shot situations. I think we can avoid that. He's got to show up in the playoffs defensively.
I wouldn't take the bet just because what you have to go through in the first 2 rounds to get to a Western Conference Finals.
What was it you would like? I mean, you talk about Houston.
Yeah, they're scary. I mean, Houston's scary just because they're still young. And they just, besides Fred VanVleet and Dylan Brooks, they just haven't been there. So you could see them losing in the first round, but you could see them winning the first round and then basically gaining momentum there.
A lot of it's going to be based on where the matchups fall. It could go almost any direction. The only thing that's locked in the West is that OKC is going to be number 1. Everything else is up for grabs. By the way, before you watch LeBron play tonight, you can listen to him talk on McAfee for over an hour today. He sat down LeBron James and Pat McAfee, an hour-long conversation. You will see it all on the Pat McAfee Show today, noon Eastern, on ESPN. All right, LeBron James and the Lakers in Indy to play the Pacers tonight. Yesterday, LeBron sat down with Pat McAfee for over an hour. The conversation will air on ESPN today. Here's a little taste of the interview. LeBron talking about how he believes current players would fail in the NBA 50 years ago.
Try to tell me Giannis wouldn't be able to play the NBA game in the 70s. Answer, he wouldn't be able to do it. Giannis Antetokounmpo would have 250 points in a game in the 70s. 250.
Is that Cousy? What was Cousy playing? All right, so Cousy played in the 50s and the 60s. So there were so many things about this conversation that bothered me. And I understand what he's saying. First and foremost, of course, he's wrong. Giannis Antetokounmpo would dominate as any athlete in the modern day. There was a couple of things that bothered me about this. In the interest of time, I will limit my comments to 2. One of them is the modern generation of player gets very, very sensitive when you compare them to players of the past. But they are very comfortable comparing themselves to players of the past. I don't love that inconsistency. The other part of it is, if all we're going to argue is players now are bigger, stronger, faster, more athletic, well, then that's the end of the conversation. The Pittsburgh Steelers offensive line in the 1970s, the heaviest guy weighed 275 pounds. What position would he play now? Linebacker? So, I mean, obviously, we've gotten bigger, we've gotten stronger. All of that is obviously true. But the idea, that feels very disrespectful to me. There were great players in the 1970s. And by the way, Bob O'Neill in the 1970s would have picked up Giannis Antetokounmpo and dunked him. And then Giannis would look around saying, why isn't that a flagrant two? While he was flying into the stands. So, look, the players of today are brilliant players. And I'm not taking anything away from them. And LeBron is on a very short list of the greatest players we've ever seen in the history of any sport in this country. But if the best argument you have is, well, look how much more athletic and skilled we are now, well, that's the end of any conversation, and it isn't an interesting one because it can be made for any sport at any time. The idea that those guys weren't great players then, as one watched them play, it offends my sensibility. Go ahead.
No, I agree. I think this is just a silly argument. Like I talk about, back in the 70s, guys would be had jobs in the offseason. Think about that.
Maybe not in the 70s, but at one time, yes.
No, there were guys who learning they don't do what we do now. Like, this is what, in today's modern sports era, along all of these sports leagues, guys train all year round. Yeah. All year round. Those guys, they weren't doing the things that modern day players are doing. So I just think it's just a silly argument to try to, again, compare what these guys are now, skill-wise, body type of stuff to guys that 20, 30 years ago.
Way longer than that. Dr. Ernie Vanderway, who played for the Knicks, was a doctor and literally only played home games. He didn't travel with the team because he was a doctor. And so to make a comparison between those obviously is nonsensical. It doesn't make any sense. But I would just very quickly point out, Bruce,
all he's saying is he could have played in the 70s.
How many commercial flights did you take during your career traveling from one city? I mean, when I was covering the NBA in the 90s, I remember one time getting to O'Hare in the morning and seeing Karl Malone and John Stockton standing at a Cinnabon waiting to get their breakfast, and they were flying to another city and playing that night. Right? The world was just a different place.
It's evolution, right? And it's like the specialization of sports. It's the best thing to happen to sports, and it's the worst thing to happen to sports, because back in the day when we were growing up, you used to play different positions, so you had different sports, so you had opportunities to develop different skills. But also you can talk about these guys are bigger, faster, stronger. Why aren't they more durable? Right, so it's that argument as well. Those guys played back-to-backs and were able to play longer and play through full seasons. I think it's a dumb argument, and I think it's something when your pride comes in. Sometimes you just have to honor the past and understand that you're standing on the backs of these guys that made the league easier for you, that made the money better for you, so you can't afford to have a chef and pay $2 million a year for your body. Right.